Okay, good. I had to think about it for a while.
All right,
No
team, we
feelings.
ready to get going?
Let's do it.
All right, let's call this meeting to order. Today is April 22nd. This is our normal monthly business meeting for the Borough of Conshohocken Authority. Calling the meeting to order, let us stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, if you don't mind, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great, thank you. Shannon, would you mind doing roll call for us?
Aparna Chibber.
Here.
Christine Bertino.
Here.
Jack Ambler.
Here.
George Bass.
Here.
Tina Sokolowski.
And here, great, thank you. All right, do we have any executive session items for this evening?
I believe we do, but I don't think there's really going to be any need for a vote, just maybe a little direction to my office, so
Okay.
we can do it at the end.
At the end?
Like,
Okay, all right, so let's do that at the end, thank you. There are no public comment in the room. Did we have any public comment that came in over the past couple of weeks through the office? Okay, great. Just a reminder, when we're talking, we want to turn our microphones on for anybody who's watching. There's just been some feedback that we don't do a good job just in general with the microphones for folks to hear on television. All right, no invited guests or presentations this evening? All right, sailing right through, guys. Next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from our March 25th, 2025 meeting. Any questions related to the minutes or concerns or edits? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from March 25th, 2025?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right. First item on the agenda is under our report section, our financial report. Any questions related to the financials for the accounts payable, accounts receivable for the month of April, right? All right.
I guess just to the solicitor, what was that general representation? Okay, let's just look at that. Nothing particularly exciting.
So I want to apologize for a second. I recently got hearing aids.
Okay.
So when my phone rings, it goes directly through my hearing aids. My phone was ringing at that moment.
That's pretty slick, though.
So I didn't hear your question.
No, I was just curious on the. I was just looking at your bill for the month, and I was just anything of note. I don't know, the normal bill cycle for you guys, or.
I think so. I think it's pretty consistent with what comes in every month. Lauren reviews these bills, then I review all the bills in the firm afterwards. Nothing sort of surprised me out of the ordinary here.
Right.
General rep is everything we do that isn't related to a specific matter. We'll put things under personnel, if it's related to personnel. We will break everything out for land development matters because that's paid out of an escrow by the applicants, and then everything else just kind of falls into general matters.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions related to accounts payable? Hearing no other questions, I am looking for a motion to approve accounts payable for the month of April in the amount of $189,730.58. Since this is spending money, we will do a roll call vote, please.
Aparna Chibber.
Yes.
Christine Bertino.
Yes.
Jack Ambler.
Yes.
George Bass.
Yes.
Tina Sokolowski.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Oh, I'll need a motion
Motion
and a second. Okay.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item under financial is we did receive a request for a donation from the Conshohocken Elementary School. They have a summer or spring carnival that they host, and historically, my understanding is the sewer authority has done some special donations to the different community events at our discretion. So what the elementary school is asking for is a donation, and that will support some of the underprivileged community students who may not have the funds to participate in the carnival events or get tickets for face painting, those types of things. So they're looking for help to support that type of activity. They'll have face painters, they'll have they'll have people wandering around doing things. So they're just looking for some support for the underfunded population so that everybody can participate in the carnival.
I'm not sure, wasn't that the way it used to be? I believe there was always, every year, there was $500 set aside. I think each board member was able to direct that to a charity of their choice. Was that the way?
It's $1,000.
Oh, is it $1,000?
$1,000 per
Oh,
board
I'm sorry,
member.
that's,
So this would be a $1,000 donation to the
I just want to
elementary
clarify
school.
too. According to their request, the money, the fundraiser raises money for a scholarship fund for someone who went to Cunchy Elementary and they're now graduating from PW.
So that's even better.
Yeah.
So it's just, we're funneling money back into the community for a
Yes.
good cause.
Yeah.
And who else we like, so we don't really do like 5 of these a year basically, and we did the,
We can,
Yeah, you can do up to 5.
community garden, I know that we've done.
This
in the
year already?
past.
I think we did the garden 2 years ago.
2 years, yeah, I don't think it was this year yet.
And we did
We've done
Cunchy
it.
Fest.
we did Conchi, yeah, Green
The sponsor
Fest.
of the garden left, so someone from the garden will probably request a donation.
But we haven't done 5. I mean, we haven't, yeah,
No.
not yet.
There are 5 individuals, so this,
I mean, yeah, so far, we haven't.
I don't think we ever did 5.
No, I don't think we've ever done 5 in total.
Probably 2 or 3,
Yeah.
but
In the time that I've been here, I would agree with that.
you would know more than I have.
would Fun Fest count for that?
Yeah, yeah. This one seems like a no-brainer, but I don't know if there's.
Anyone opposed to a $1,000 donation to
Do you need a motion?
Colonial Elementary? So, yes, please.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept that.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to give a donation from the Conshohocken Authority to the Conshohocken Elementary School for their spring carnival. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Shannon, will you connect with her and get all the details around that?
I have it all, and I cut the check for this month because they need it by the 15th of May.
Even better. Thanks, everybody. All right.
Yeah, right.
Done. Done deal. All right. That looks like if there are no other questions about our financial reports, get a chance to look at Shannon's monthly highlights. Were there any questions related to Shannon's highlights that were in the packet? There's not, everything was straightforward. I don't think there was any, right? Okay. So hearing nothing, do I have a motion to accept the financial report into public record?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Moving right on. Solicitors report.
Thank you. Just one action item this evening. We have a resolution authorizing the release of professional services escrow for the project located at 1030 Riverview Lane in West Conshohocken. The developer is Thomas Andrew Holmes. These escrow releases are when all the work is completed and all of the professionals have signed off that there's not going to be any additional work being done by us. and whatever money is related in the professional services escrow can then be returned to the applicant.
Any questions related to the escrow release?
Brad, anything from you on that, or all's good?
All's good. We cleared it, yep. And we do that internally first, yep.
Awesome.
Mike, what is the dollar figure on the escrow? I don't see that one here.
Whatever remaining after
So,
our last.
yeah, so we don't, whatever's in escrow right now, I wait till next month to make sure there's no final bills.
Okay.
And then I'll have the number.
Okay.
But essentially, both Fred and I are saying, after whatever we've done this month, there'll be nothing else, so
Right.
we'll close, it'll be closed out
Okay.
after this month.
All right, so do you want to wait till next month
No,
for
you
the
can
motion? We
approve
could do
this
that
now, so
today.
this way, when Shannon gets the bill,
She just
can
has to do
cut the
it.
check. Yep.
Okay. All right. Any other questions related to the solicitor's report on the escrow release? Hearing no other questions, do I have a motion to accept the escrow release for West Conshohocken?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And as I indicated earlier, other than the executive session at the end of the night, I have nothing further.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for the solicitor? Hearing no other questions, do I have a motion to accept the solicitor's report into record?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Zooming right along, we're up for the engineer's report. Mr. Ebert.
Yep, first thing is Chapter 94 report was submitted on March 28th. And I will leave Brett and Ed, update you during their reports on the influence sampling. But they are out sampling for our high organic loads. So, and that's going to be a trial and error, continue to follow through till we find someone. But they are definitely doing that. So I will not step on their report, leave them, update at their time. Second one, on the liner contract phases 2 and 3, we are still waiting for updated maintenance bonds. They are being responsive. They did get back to me. They had it, the dates were still wrong, but they're getting closer. So the fact that they're responsive is a good sign. On the influent pump station design, we did receive updated progress reports or plans, and we commented on those. They are now completing their sequence of construction from an electrical standpoint of how they want to do it. Once they've completed that, we're then going to meet with the operations staff and say, this is how they want to do it electrically. What issues are you going to have if we do it in this sequence and doing it down? The goal is never to really be shut down. We kind of have 2 wet wells, 2 sets of pumps. We want to keep one active the entire time as we go through. So they are doing that. And now that kind of Chapter 94 season's over, I'm going to be scheduling that in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We will then take the operations comments of how they want the sequence, meld them together, and complete the design. Basically, we're on the same page with the wastewater treatment electrical design, but what they did in our last round of review is Keystone actually identified some equipment that was replaced after they did their initial installation or evaluation. So they did an evaluation, identified all the equipment, took it back, kind of did their design. Then we went out and are coordinating on the final design specs, and we realized some things aren't right that we knew were replaced. So we're working on, and I just found out about this right before I wrote the board report. They've asked for additional cut sheets and things that we replaced. Some of it may have been as a result of the flood that happened. Some of the equipment that was replaced during the flood. Some of it may, or some VFDs that may have just burned out and been replaced, on there. So we actually, go through everything from their initial report. They do the design, then we go out and verify, because things like that happen. A VFD can burn out any time. I don't think there's anything more, I don't think it's a significant issue. It's just a detail issue that, it's a similar piece of equipment, but it's not what we have, and the inputs from it may not be, I'm making this up, on the right side, they're now on the left side. Or there may be 5 alarm set points instead of 3 that were on the initial. So, but the good thing is we're getting to that level of detail now. Once they complete that, they're going to update their sequence of construction, same way based on their electrical sequence and their temporary facilities, which they worked on last month. We're now going to go out and describe it to the operator and kind of go through it in the field, to get operational concerns, but things that they may have thought differently sitting at their computer than what it's actually like out in the field. So it's all going through there. The devil's always in the details. I'm pushing them for a completion timeline. They're not willing to really give it to me until they do their second site visit. And I think that's a fair, request from them. They don't know what they don't know, and the people that are doing it aren't doing the design in-house. They have a team of about 4 people that are working on this. They all haven't been out to the site. But the person doing the quality control review, Kirsten, has been out there. That's really it for the electrical upgrade, other than we're going because it's September 30th, I believe, of 2026 when we have to be done. So I'm pushing to make sure we get this thing out and do it, because there's no guarantee that any grant there's no indication that a grant wouldn't be extended. I'm not taking that risk with what's going on, grants may be pulled back. So I am pushing them on that.
Was that September 30th, 2026?
Yes,
For construction,
Yes.
finalized
Completion.
construction? Yeah.
yes. So, and.
Completion and bills paid by, right? Or just the completion of the project?
Costs are supposed to have been incurred by then. You have until, don't quote me on this, November to have your final paperwork
Okay.
in. So I need to have that. Historically, what they have done is we just get a proactive bill, which we'll process, and then we sit on the check until the work's completed. So they need to have an invoice for the work to be completed.
And they know that they know that timeline, that September 2026 anyway.
Keystone Engineering,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yes. But I'm pushing to get the things out because I've recently run into a lot of problems with, and I went back and asked for some clarifications on the Build American, Buy American requirements. They are enforcing them, I don't want to say more stringently. There's a different interpretation of what was previously allowed that met those requirements compared to what is now being required. So that's, a matter of not only do you have to buy American goods, we used to be able to buy US steel and have it built in Europe and then shipped over here. So they would buy steel or Canada. Now it actually has to be bought. So all the vendors are now going through. I've had concerns about what is that doing to my costs. The other concerns that we're trying to work into, and I don't know how you really do it, are things like, well, if I place the order on September and a new tariff comes in October, are you allowing an escalation clause? Or are you not allowing an escalation clause? Is that allowed under a grant contract? Is that not allowed under a grant contract? Because with grant contracts, you have to have like or equals because there's federal funding being used. So I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm getting a lot of direction. I'm getting some I don't knows. And I'm going back to the vendors. And I'm getting as much input, honestly, probably from the vendors and the contractors that I'm working with about, because we're updating our prices. So this is what's triggering that is, well, do these compliance? So then they ask me the question. I then go ask the DCED, how is that? They've got to ask somebody.
So when you say they ask the question, Keystone's asking the question, and then you go to the vendors? It's a...
No, I would say that Keystone is going to the vendors to get updated costs.
Right.
I'm copied on the emails. The vendors then come back with their questions. I then take the lead and go to DCED, because I'm responsible to you guys for it. I want to know what the answer is and how the question was asked. I'm anticipating until the dust settles on this happening right up through bidding.
Right.
Because even the interpretation of the Build American, Buy American Act 2 months ago was totally different, not totally different, slightly different, but different nuances that can impact things. Obviously, 3 months ago, tariffs were not nearly the issue that they are today. So there's a lot of things that, as the vendors are protecting themselves and guaranteeing price, they're not guaranteeing prices, but giving us updated prices, they're asking all these questions. So there's a lot of, I don't want to say unproductive work, but clarification work, not just working on details, because that has to then ripple back through the specs and how we write all those specs. And that's one that has been, it's informative, and it's good that these things are being fleshed out. It's kind of scary, a little bit, quite honestly, of, you know, from the time you press send on it, what's going to happen until the bids are received, until the bids are awarded, until we go to construction. But I will tell you that there's been more changes in the last 90 days than there has been in the previous 30 years of my career. You know what I mean? It's just on there, and a lot of that has to do with the pools of money and where they're being done. Because what we used to do is we would get a pool of money that may be 70% federal and 30%. The interpretation always was, well, that is being bought with the 30% of the state funds. That's being bought with the 30% of the state funds. It doesn't apply. You just have to apply this. Now they're saying if you're in for a dime, you're in for a dollar. You know, if one dime of federal money is being used here, you've got to comply with all the federal standards. That's the primary change. And the primary change is a lot of these acts are new. We've never gone through them and gone through audits and things like that. So I will tell you that it's been an awful lot of emails and good emails, you know.
It's the latest we can start the project to get the project timeline done, like the spring?
Yeah.
So
honestly.
6
I mean,
months?
my goal is to really have this thing bid and awarded by October, procure stuff over the winter, and start construction beginning of the year.
Okay.
And that gives me 9 months
Okay.
to get done. You know, my second turnover, I want to have, like, it's hard because I kind of want to have 2 spots. Kind of winter is low flows. You guys aren't impacted by flows as much, but you try not to do a major turnover during the springtime for a couple of reasons. Number one, your treatment plant is influenced by, it's biological. So that change in temperature is not a good time to be screwing with the controls. It's also theoretically when you get your higher flows. You guys don't have an I&I problem, it's really not done there. So I kind of want to do one in the winter and one in the summer. I try to stay away from that March to kind of May, because my treatment plant's already kind of feeling a little bit of an upset stomach by what we've had recently. 70, 80 degree days, 20, 30 degrees. You know, it doesn't like that. It's a cold-blooded organism. You know, it either wants a slow metabolism or it wants a high metabolism. You know, so when you go up, the bugs start to reproduce, they start to eat, they get a big diet, it goes down and they slow down. You know, so with an RBC, it's not like an activated sludge, it's a lot more forgiving of a process, but it still is something that you want to minimize your input. We have an odor control, but really what happens is when you get upset, you get odors. You know, that's what happens. It's just like your body. When you don't feel good, you don't act good. So. On the
I have a curiosity question. Okay, they're looking at the way that it's been designed. Are there drawings and everything that they're looking at, or are they just looking at, do we have that stuff?
Oh, yes. Well, we start with the original BCM design drawings.
Right.
And then they went out and they did a feasibility study, and they basically did an as-built
Okay.
of everything
That's
and
my question.
did that. Since that time, we've gone
Made
back,
changes.
as they've asked me questions, we found things that aren't there.
Right.
Or aren't right. And that's gone back through. So that's how we've kind of fleshed it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So when this is done, we'll have a whole new set of.
Absolutely.
drawings
All
that
the
will be
electrical.
accurate, right?
Yes. That's why you're paying $100,000. You know?
Right.
So, and it is detailed because you got to realize that things have been modified since, was it 89 when the plant was built? Since 89, how many things have been modified and nobody noticed? You know what I mean? It burned out on a Friday night, you replaced it. And that was the only thing the warehouse had. So everything else is square D, and this is, something else. So, and some things, you're honestly at the point of, it's just no longer made. That model number is totally out. The technology, there's an IB Pro or IB Plus and IB, I forget what it is. There's 2 ways of communicating, from it, and the software's changed. So even now, once you switch one VFD, you got to switch them all over. So we're running into that and trying to make it. I am never a state-of-the-art engineer. We're trying to be as close to that as you can be. If you're a state-of-the-art engineer, you're going to be part of the learning curve, and I try to stay off of that curve. But you don't want to be buying something that's the last one off the production shelf either.
You want to be second in line, not last or first.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly where I try to be. I want something that's been out for 2 or 3. Mechanically, I like to be 5 years out. Electrically, you're a year or two out, you know what I mean? You gotta have it installed, troubleshot, gone through a warranty and see where you're at.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep. Just two developments, or two items on the development front. 701 Fayette Street is coming back, and we're waiting for updated plans from them on that. Another one that's coming back is 541 East Hector Street, which is a 12-unit townhouse. We have just received plans on that one that were updated. That's really it from the development front. We have others on construction. Your questions on 548 Heck Street? It's a 12-unit townhouse development.
It's the one where the gym is, right?
Right next door, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, on the side there.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
and that's where we had replaced didn't we replace a sewer main back there? We were gonna replace a sewer main, and then he came in.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
That's down further.
no, yeah, your 541's directly across from our plant.
Okay, all right.
On the other side, right.
You're talking 260.
You're right, yes.
Yeah,
That's the one I was
and we
thinking.
haven't heard anything on that over here, I guess, have we?
Yeah, you know,
The 12-unit one, though, that's right across from our secondary fire.
They've actually started working in there,
Oh,
right?
yeah, they're putting
Yeah.
some kind of wall system up.
Yeah, okay,
yeah, well, they're getting us updated, they just got us updated plans.
okay.
So we are definitely doing that one. And like I said, the 701 Fayette Street was that 3-story mixed-use development, retail, 9 apartments. You know, we did our last review letter on January 30th, 2023, and basically the developer contacted us just about the status of their approvals. And we gave them a status, assuming that they were going to be submitting plans, but we haven't received them yet.
Is this where the gas station is?
Yeah, the
Yes.
Texaco.
Right, the disused filling station.
Yeah,
Same developer or different developer?
I don't know.
It's the same.
Same one? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. That completes my report unless the board has any questions.
Any additional questions for our engineer this evening? Hearing no questions, do I have a motion to accept the engineer's report?
Well,
I'll make the motion to approve the engineer's report.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Did you want to say something else? Or were you fighting over the motion? Arm wrestling the motion. All right. Next item on the agenda this evening, thank you for the engineer's report, if I didn't say that, is our operations manager's report out.
All right, last month, you guys gave us the go-ahead to put the old jet truck on the market in the auction, so we got $5,100 for it, which wasn't bad considering. But if you look at it from another standpoint, we rented it out last year for 8 months. And the people we rented it to bought their new technology, which is a 3/4 inch hose, where ours is a 1 inch hose. So we needed a new root cutting system. They no longer had a need for it, so they gifted it to us.
Oh,
So they gave us that, and they also had a spare reel of hose, 500 feet of hose. So when you put that all together, we got a lot more for it than we really thought we did, it looks like.
In Whitemarsh, right?
Yes.
They gave us that
Yes.
cutting system because they bought the wrong truck?
We have no use for it anymore.
Yes.
And we work together hand in hand.
Yeah, we help each other out a lot. You know, when one of our trucks are down, they'll bring their truck out, we'll bring our truck out. It's a private buyer who owns, owns a trailer park out in Ben Salem somewhere. It's got about 40 acres out there. Excuse me?
Rock Meadows?
I'm not sure the name. I don't know the name of the development, I just know the name of the buyer. So,
How do you spell that? F-O-L-K?
you may be right, like I said, I don't know.
Guarantee you I know.
But it was 100 over the starting bid. I think he got in at 2 minutes left, and he got it for an extra $100.
all right.
The other things were updates from my report that I put in last week was the grid station had been down for some repair work. Since then, that's been put back in service. Also, the scum pump wiring project has been completed since then. Also, the one last project that I forgot to update on here was we've been dealing with this corroded wall in the watering building. And, we got quotes for well over $10,000, and our staff did it in-house with this system, and they did a really great job for about half the price. So that was completed last week as well, so. Got a lot of big stuff out of the way last month, and now we're gonna spend most of our focus, just getting prepared for this meeting with Epicoa next month. So we got about 3 more weeks before that, and really excited about it, so. That completes my report. Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. Our staff will be setting up the tent at the Green Fest this Saturday. So if you're walking around, stop by and get a piece of candy or a coloring book or whatever you like. So that completes my report.
Does it?
Thank you very much.
Because I see a job candidate.
John and Mo.
John and Mo?
Yeah, are you going to talk about the job candidate
I'm sorry, what was the question?
who accepted the position?
Yes, he did, yes.
Yes. I didn't know if you were going to mention it because it is in your report.
Oh, yes, I
It's
wasn't
good
sure.
news.
It's very good news, yes. So he's still completing his class. So that's the end of May, I believe. So he's going to begin on June 16th. So we're,
So are we fully staffed, or we still have one position open,
what would you say?
We're fully staffed.
fully staffed at this point? Good.
We're in good shape and evaluating them.
Excellent,
I was a little worried when we started asking some questions, but we're good.
excellent.
And our maintenance foreman already has a project he's waiting on to really get him started. So it'll be a good learning basis for him.
Is he able to be there on the 16th?
I was going to ask him that. I mentioned that. I'm going to invite him there. I don't know if he's done his class by then or not, but I'm definitely going to invite him and let him see what it's all about.
Great. Any other questions for our operations manager? Hearing no other questions, do I have a motion to accept the report?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item is the executive director's report.
Okay, a couple items I'll lead off with stormwater. Tomorrow we're meeting with the borough to go over actually next year's budget already and where we're moving forward stormwater with them. So I'll inform you what our discussion tomorrow. Part of our audit, for our financial audit, we needed an assessment what the value of the stormwater system was. I had staff, specifically Ed, put all the numbers together, and then we actually had a conversation with Kathy, and I even had with Fred and Lauren as well. We put all the numbers together, and then we had HRG for this is our stormwater assessment, because Kathy needs it since we're the owners of our system. And the borough didn't do anything, and neither did the authority. But with all the legwork that Ed did as we went through the process, we had determined through HRG that the system value, replacement value is $54 million. Ed took quite a few weeks putting that all together to make it very simple to place into a spreadsheet, and then we had basically our HRG review our information to keep the cost down.
That's great.
We got that done from Kathy for our audit. As moving on to the plan, as Fred alluded to about our continue finding where our organic loadings are, we are continuing to split samples, and we actually purchased a COD analyzer, which is chemical oxygen demand of our system, to give us more a quick analysis. And at that point, once we get some correlation, I'll get Fred involved. We'll get correlation that we can make quicker determination as an aid for us to try to evaluate it. I mean, and then we also did right to know requests as well for all our contributing the borough, West, and Plymouth for all food producers. That's currently in the right to know request of Montgomery County, and we'll get that information because just in case we're missing something, it could be, we don't know. But if anyone goes through, the county actually does anything with food producers for inspection, so that's why we did the right to know request. And I should have that within the next 3 or 4 weeks, and I'll provide that to you as well. But other than that, as Ed says, we got 3 more weeks or so till we do our open house, and we're 100% 50 people running around the plant, hopefully.
That's great.
And these are operators, they go like.
Operators, engineers, anything that's in the water wastewater field.
From Pennsylvania?
Basically, east of it.
South of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Where's,
used to-
where's the conference?
You know, they go through the plant tour, and then there'll be a speaker, and then.
Is that up
afterwards-
here?
Yeah, so what everybody does is they all, you know, you go there, you explore other treatment technology, and like, you know, I used to steal ideas from other engineers and things I like, so I send a lot of my young engineers to them, just to experience other plants that we didn't design. How does somebody else design it? So that's really what the engineers go. Operators basically go, a lot of it is for relationships, to develop relationships with adjoining operators, more so than how to operate somebody else's plant. They just go more for the connection and to, you know, have a friend to call.
There's also a huge tent with all kinds of engineers and contractors and vendors, so you can see all kinds of different technology there, and you can get cards and contacts. And the main focus of it actually is a quarterly meeting, so they rotate it to different plants. So after the tour, everybody goes back to Springville Firehouse, and then there'll be a small presentation there, then you'll eat, then you'll go on with the actual quarterly meeting.
Okay.
So.
Great. I do have a question on the value of the stormwater system. That becomes that's an asset of ours now, so we would potentially have larger borrowing power if we needed.
We don't own the stormwater.
That's what I'm trying to, I
We're
don't
just
remember.
using it. It's value we just have a lease relationship.
It's just a lease, okay,
From the,
from the borough.
So
Okay.
it's for the borough's benefit.
Okay.
why are they not helping with the legwork? You said you guys were doing all the, should Conshohocken Borough be helping with that at all?
It's our responsibility. We did it part of our audit because it's.
Part of our
We
audit.
take it as a.
Okay. All right,
It's like
I
54
couldn't
million is
remember.
like to replace it, so therefore it's worth 54 million?
It's replacement cost of today's value.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Seems almost like a liability then it is.
Well, that was the other word I was going to use. I thought an asset sounded better.
System of advantage is
So it's not
asset,
ours,
it's
it's
really
liability. It's not ours.
They would lease.
I couldn't remember if it was full buyout or lease. Okay,
Doesn't sound like.
thank you.
I think that's even analyzer will be good. I mean, even if you get like even the correlate, we're sure we can get a correlation locally, but if you just get any hits on that, then you can just go run a BOD or something on that. Yeah. It's awesome.
Our staff is, Keith's doing analysis of it's all internal right now. We're checking our bases, our COD with the outside lab to make sure that we're accurate, and we are right on the mark on this point, so. It's just giving us a tool that we can react quicker, and obviously I'll defer to Fred as well to help us out.
We're having to wait for a lab analysis all the time. You know, it at least points you in the right direction, you can follow with a more detailed test. But rather than wait for that, you're too far behind the curve. Just got to start sectionalizing it off and identifying. It's more of a game of elimination than identification.
Correct.
Have we eliminated anything?
No, we're still at the
We're still starting.
Yeah, we're just starting.
The last month to this month was a short meeting, you know?
Yeah.
It took us
You get out, because putting a sampler out in Conshohocken, you're not in rural Pennsylvania. You know, you need a place that's not gonna get hit, it's not gonna get stolen, it can be safely put in, that you aren't, you know, there's a lot of issues that the guys have to be able to withdraw a sample. That's not a grab sample, which is honestly worthless, but a grab sample is worthless. You really need a composite.
How many do you have out there right now, or
How many want?
samples.
samplers do we have? Three?
And
we're
we
just
also
like-
checking our point of influence, where our influence sample is. So we have 3 portables.
And the problem is still at the rate it was?
Pretty much it's still at the same rate where it was actually, yes,
Pretty consistent.
for now.
I didn't look at this month's report.
Okay.
Good question.
I was just hoping it wasn't a problem
It
anymore.
was a blip, right?
It's no blood.
What is the right to know request? What will that give you for like information. It's like,
I'm gonna see if we're missing anything. There could be an industry out there that's making food that's giving us high organic loading that is under the radar. But for them to be a food producer, they're gonna have to go through the county, because the
regulated.
county has,
You know, catering business that works out of the back of the factory, you don't even realize it's there.
the county has a responsibility to do inspection for food.
okay, yeah.
That's why we did that.
Breadcrumb trail.
Yep. Right.
Do you want to talk about fee waiver for 413 East 11th?
That's for the fire.
Yeah, sure. Yes, we got a call 2 weeks ago, got a call 2 weeks ago from a resident that unfortunately suffered a fire that was pretty bad in their house. It's uninhabitable now. And they're wondering why they still had to pay their service fees for, they're obviously not contributing or discharging. And I told them that Shannon and I talked about it, and there is something that was done years ago. It was similar. I believe a car drove into a house on West 8th Avenue, and it was uninhabitable. And I believe it was did you I don't know if you looked at it, was it a 6-month waive? I think they suspended the fee for 6 months. It was like a one-time suspension, I guess you would call it.
And then you could go back and evaluate it
Yes.
after that.
So I believe that's looking for some kind of direction on.
Has this been the only one since that other one that has asked for something like this?
Yes.
And the home was deemed inhabitable by the code?
We actually have confirmation from the Borough's Code Department.
And they would need to go out to deem it habitable?
I believe so,
Someone
yes.
does.
So these are the fees, not other than
Consumption,
consumption?
correct.
And there's work being done on the property now?
I haven't confirmed that part of it yet.
Every now and then it's like a block over, but it's kind of calmed down a little bit now.
How much are we talking about? $45?
Like 40, what's it,
It's
50?
$57.74 a quarter,
A quarter.
plus then the stormwater of the $30.
I'll swap bills with them.
So $100.
Yeah.
For 1 quarter.
Are still
It would
contributing
probably
for
be for more than 1 quarter, I'm assuming.
Right.
But
So they are still contributing to the water, but I think it's.
So $200 for 6 months and then reevaluate?
Yeah.
Yeah, knock it down to 50 a quarter, $200. Or $200 for 6 months is the same, what they're paying now, isn't it?
Well, it's basically freezing them. They don't have to be responsible for the $200 in 6 months, but
Okay.
at 6 months, we would reevaluate to see where they're at.
If somebody buys it.
That
or
sounds fair.
Renovates it, yeah.
So no fees for.
So no fees for 6 months. Everybody comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Do we need a motion for that? 'Cause
Yeah,
it's-
let's do a motion on that one. So I'm looking for a motion to waive fees for stormwater and sewer for 413 East 11th Avenue for a period of 6 months.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay,
And that will complete my report then this month.
great. Thank you very much. Anyone have any additional questions for our executive director's report out? Hearing no additional questions, do I have a motion to accept the fee waiver, or the executive director's report?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And do we have any old business that we need to bring up this evening? All right. Any board business that we want to bring up?
I have a question, but I think I want to wait until after we close the meeting.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, hearing no additional questions, I will call the meeting to order with the executive session to follow. Meeting adjourned.